And we got 48s because I don't think anybody's ever bought a brand new 48. I think you just come across
Acquire
them.
eBay all day.
All right, let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the It's So Easy podcast. We're here at home now. We're not at the studio anymore. And I've got a cold, kind of.
Everybody does.
Yeah, it's cold outside.
Totally.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Indiana.
So easy, baby.
It's so easy, baby.
What show were you talking about just a second ago?
I don't know. What was I talking about? A Twilight Zone?
Yeah, Twilight Zone.
Oh, yeah. The car that tells the truth.
Yeah.
I don't know what brought that up, but we were talking about something. Yeah, I've been watching the shit out of the Twilight Zone.
You like the old one or the new one better?
Oh, dude, the old one.
Okay,
you can't beat the old one.
Yeah, there is a right or a wrong answer there.
Yeah.
For sure.
The new one I thought I couldn't believe that they were trying to remake it. And then I was like, I'll give it a chance because the Twilight Zone is my favorite show of all time.
Didn't the guy from Key and Peele redo it?
It was either him or
he was on the team.
I think it was him.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
But no, I watched it. It was lame.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
They had some big names in it.
Yeah. Well, it was like it's like, well, you just make a compilation of scary stories in an episode, and I'm like, no, it wasn't just that though. It was the fact that it was made in 1959,
Yeah, it had that vibe,
and it had that vibe, and you can't beat it. Like you watch it nowadays, and it still holds up.
Like,
you know,
I'll go on the record and say this: you guys have these memories like chilling in bed with grandma as like a young kid, like watching like I Love Lucy on Nick and Night or whatever. You guys remember that stuff? Yeah, like that's what that reminds me of. Twilight Zone. You know?
Oh yeah,
It
Zach,
takes me back.
I'm gonna cut you off, man. You need to move your pads and scoot your mic up to where your mouth is on the sumbitch.
I didn't know that we had to like get up in it.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
All up in there.
Puss in Boots.
Well, this is multi-tracked. I can adjust the volume later.
Yeah, and I'm blind without the headphones,
Yeah.
but it's cool. I trust you guys
Yeah,
with a lot of stuff.
this was cool about.
You talking about the car? Have you guys seen that movie, Christine?
Oh,
The
yeah.
old
Yeah,
horror
of
movie?
course,
I
yeah.
love that movie, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Stephen King.
Yeah.
That's what my dad named that old bass after.
Really.
I guess he took her to Canada at some point when they crossed away from the American border. He had shaved the finish off the back of the neck because he didn't like the gloss that old Yamaha came with. And when he got to Canada after he had shaved that off, it warped so bad you couldn't play it. He had to play some backup bass over there. I can't remember what bass it was.
Probably something really nice.
I doubt it. But when they came back to the American border, a lot of times when your instrument warps like that, it's something you have to like go get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
She was perfectly fine afterwards.
Really?
He said that bass came to life, hated Canada.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Self-healing bass.
Temperamental.
Yeah. Then.
Yeah, temperamental.
Dude, speaking of which, Clem, I'm helpless when it comes to that gold top, man. Need your help on that, brother.
What's
Oh, setting it up.
No, getting it wired for me.
Oh,
okay?
Sorry
And
for
you were
the
doing
shop
it 50 wires.
Yeah, 50 style wiring. It's pretty middle of the road, but it's just it's bamboozled me. Like whoever did it before me had it sideways, and then I was starting off on the wrong foot to begin with, and I'm not the greatest soldering champion of all time, so.
A Les Paul I can work with.
It's the braided wire that gets me. It's the braided wire going from the switch to the,
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know. Like, I knew that Les Paul was a guitarist, but have you guys... I wasn't aware of the fact that he was, like,
Badass.
really into
He was
the
good.
fucking, like, audio mixing side, like, developing that technology, and...
Yeah, he was a cool guy.
I could
he's
assume so.
responsible
I mean,
for a lot of that stuff,
Yeah.
and people don't really
Yeah.
associate him with that as
I
much as they do
didn't
the
know
guitar.
that, but I
Leo-
could see that, especially since he designed his own guitar and stuff.
Totally.
I mean,
I was reading a book the other day, and it had a whole section devoted to him on the audio side, and I was like,
Dude, he
wow.
just passed away like not that long ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the guy that made Fender, he wasn't even a guitar
Yeah,
player.
Leo Fender. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was another one I was thinking about when you said that. He was another interesting fella. He was more than just a guitar guy.
You know, if I remember correctly, I could be totally mistaken. I don't think Les Paul designed the Les Paul at all.
Probably not.
I can't remember.
so.
It was like one of those signature deals that you see, except now.
Fact check ourselves.
Yeah, pull it up.
We
should
don't have Keenan here this week.
Yeah, we should have
Keenan,
Emma.
pull it up. Yeah.
Emma on a computer over there with headphones on, like looking at shit.
Yeah. Fact checking everything we say.
But just at the risk of being completely wrong and looking totally stupid, I believe it was like a signature guitar that had been made for him. Like they just stamped his name on it.
Could be. I don't remember.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
Consulted and
Yeah.
provided input on the design and the look, but Ted McCarty and Gibson factory manager John Hewis designed the guitar.
There we go.
Okay.
Don't scorch us.
It's crazy that, I think I've always been one of those guys where it's like it's easy to come up with an idea, but to execute that idea is so much harder. So it's like, yeah, it's cool you came up with the design, man, but did you build the son of a bitch?
I think that depends on the idea.
Well, yeah, of course.
For
I mean,
sure.
if the guy that thought of the wheel was, that was pretty revolutionary,
Yeah.
Well, it's just sometimes I've come up with an idea and found them really easy to execute, no matter how regrettable they were after the fact.
Yeah.
When a buddy of mine passed away now, Dylan Rothwell, was at a house one time. He kept saying, yeah, look, and he'd jump and he'd slide down a hill. It was probably a good 15, 20-foot drop to a driveway at the bottom of that hill. I'd been drinking at the time. And I said, no, I can run down the hill. And I executed that idea and woke up a couple seconds later rather regretful of that execution.
Well, it was like Kris came up with that idea about selling drumsticks, like cutting up drumsticks.
It's a great idea.
We've been talking about it since summer, and I was thinking about that because, when I started playing drums again, I remembered how expensive drumsticks are now. And I was like, there's got to be a way I could make my money back with these drumsticks. And I was like, okay, I'll take Kris's idea. And I was like, I wonder how hard that would be. And I got on my grandpa's tool bench, put it in the anvil, cut the drumstick, drilled a hole in it. And I'm still trying to find something to, like a loop or something to put in there for the keychain. But I was like, wow, that took me about 10 seconds to do all that. That was incredibly easy, and it's just like, it's funny when you sit on an idea for a long time and you're just like, okay, I'm going to actually try this and see if it works. And then you find out it was really easy and you feel like a dum-dum because you could have been doing this ages ago,
Talk to me after the show about that, guys. I can definitely contribute to that whole thing happening.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, almost every idea I've had has been the exact opposite experience. I'm the guy that'll just jump into it, and then I go, oh, fuck, this is way harder than I was anticipating.
I always keep my ears open for people whenever they come up with ideas, and if they don't do it, I'll try my hand at it, and then I'll be like, and if I find a way to do it, I'll get a hold of them and be like, hey, this is how I do it. So you can, you can pick it back
It's
up.
funny
or
you
whatever.
say that, man. This podcast actually, this is like the second or third rendition of a podcast that I've done since I've done the music thing professionally or said it, attempted to. And so ties right into what you're saying. It's like the first time I did this, it's a thing. I called it Bengebreakers broadcast. It was like it was a rise and fall immediately sort of thing. It was like a pilot and then one and done. Because the tech side of it was just kicking my ass, man. Like every time we would go to broadcast, I would have it scheduled as an event, and it would just be this clunky process where I couldn't get the tech to work right, and I was moving like a mobile streaming thing with me, and it was difficult. And I had a couple guests on, and it did well enough for what it was, but it was just literally going to kill me if I tried to continue to do it for another year. So I just stopped and just left it to the fates to decide on that, and then you guys had this idea, which is it's my idea. It's not my idea. It's obviously we've established this before, but it's you guys took what I was feeling already, and it was like now there's manpower. Yeah, there's manpower. There's different minds. There's different opinions, and it can actually do its thing like it's supposed to. And it's not just Zach Benge and the Zach Benge's show.
Zach Benge's show.
Because that's exhausting, man.
We're binge watching.
Yeah, binge watchers.
Binge watchers.
There are a few I think out there.
I was thinking about it too. About like the old version of what the podcasts were. And of course, there were radio shows.
Yeah,
but you saw a lot of those TV shows that would be something like the William Shatner show. And it would, it was like, what the hell is this show about? And it pretty much, if you watch them, it was just a live action audienced podcast.
Pretty much like a monologue, an epic monologue. Basically, with Shatner, at least it was.
I actually wanted to start a podcast when I was, I want to say middle school or high school.
See, you're way ahead of me.
It was hard as hell to start them back then.
Yeah.
You had to get your own, what are that, the RSS feeds?
Yeah, it was like a lost art. It was like Joe Rogan knew this thing that no one else knew.
Yeah, and I was like, it was crazy looking back at those two things that I wish I could have done more as a kid. I was making YouTube videos when I was in 6th grade. Like the kids at my school, like would be like, dude, you make pretty awesome videos.
Yeah.
I wish I would have stuck to that.
You were that kid.
Yeah, I was like, this is OG YouTube days.
That's
like,
cool.
Yeah, like
We had a kid named Derek, and his brother actually went on to go to film school. I think like real big boy film school.
really.
Yeah, and Derek, he was like the only kid in our class that his family was pretty well off, and they were really cool people. But he had like the top of the line HD camcorders and shit like that, and like he was the first one to get the PS3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And like we used to just while out on his property and like go mudding in this Suburban, and we're like 14. You know what I mean? And like it was awesome. And he would take videos of all this stupid shit that we would do. And
That's awesome.
God, I hope those videos are destroyed now, because there's me doing some silly crap.
Yeah, it was just. I just wish if I could go back in time, knowing. Well, obviously, you can't. You don't want to change your past, but I wish I knew what I knew now. And how good YouTube
For
could
sure.
treat people, man. I mean, that was the OG days. I mean, I made a short film called Clown that like I found it the other day, and I was like, for a 12-year-old, this was not bad at all.
Right,
You know?
you were interested in that stuff.
Yeah, it was. I've always been interested. I never really wanted to be a filmmaker
It's
per se.
difficult, man.
Yeah, but I love doing that stuff by myself. And you find like there's a part in the video where I get run over by a car, and the way that I made that happen was I get on a skateboard and I go down my driveway and I put my camera up where it looks like the car's driving into me.
There you go.
But I'm really riding down on the thing, and I was like, man, that was cool. What the hell happened to that kid?
Yeah. That's
But-
awesome.
Yeah, no, it was.
You did a series of videos for a little bit there. I don't know if you'd want people to be able to find them or not.
That's
They're
valuable.
still out there.
But it was about some of like the different haunted sites around Indiana.
Yeah, that was during COVID. When
I
we were
thought
all
you had a
locked down.
thing going,
That
man.
wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I want to keep doing that. I'm trying to get my bearings on these 3 projects because that was quite a bit. The only thing that made me stop doing that was it got repetitive real quick.
Yeah.
Because it was like the first couple episodes, you're learning how to do it. What I should have done, I did an episode on the Baltic Sea anomaly, and it was 20 minutes long. And that was about 15 minutes longer than it should have been. It was
One of them.
really boring topic.
Right.
But I mean, it was
Baltic
an
Sea.
interesting topic, but very boring. There's a thing at the bottom of the Baltic Sea that looks like a UFO, but you can't.
Because it is one.
Yeah, it might. I don't know. I even emailed the actual company that went down there to check it out and tried to get an interview with them and everything, but I couldn't. They never got back with me.
You guys believe in Sam Squanch?
Yeah. Well, dude, I have a story about the Bigfoot Indiana Bigfoot Research Foundation.
Yeah.
So,
I can turn you on to a podcast about that you will love, dude.
I bet.
But go ahead,
That'd
go
be cool.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, so the film company that shot the Sidewalk Preacher music video, Fair Creek Films, Tyler, the owner of it and the
Did a
director.
great job.
Yeah, and he hit me up. God, this was like maybe 3, 4, or 5 years ago, and he was like, "Hey, we're shooting a Bigfoot Research Foundation documentary. Do you want to come help?" And I was like, "Well, fuck yeah, I want to come help.
Yeah.
I want to go spend a weekend in the woods and
Yeah.
film a bunch of
Go to Shades.
people in the woods trying to get Bigfoot."
Yeah.
And these oh my gosh, these souls. I don't think it was called the Bigfoot Research Foundation. I'm not going to call what it was because they were all nice, but they were out of there, And there was a couple people that could have swore that they talked to Bigfoot and that. And I was like, yeah, Bigfoot's telepathic, man. He can.
Yeah, it got weird fast.
And I told them, they were asking me like, so where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from Morgan County. And they're like, oh, they're everywhere out there. I was like, shit, I must have missed them. I ain't seen nothing. I mean, we have a cutout of a Bigfoot sitting by the highway over by Martinsville, but
They're everywhere.
he's not real. No, but anyway.
People say they're out in the forestry out there.
Yeah, well, something.
They
I don't
call
know.
them different things. They call them like there is folklore, like local folklore about them.
Oh, it's fun. I love like believing in that shit, even if it's
I
not
think-
real.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say whether it's real or not. I would venture to say that if there is some giant fucking monkey running around in the forest,
It's my
he's
Uncle
probably
John.
not telepathic.
It's probably not telepathic.
Maybe, dude.
There's some theories that like the top of mountains are doorways to another realm. So that's how these. I mean, it goes deep. There's some people that believe that's how Bigfoot's like. They pop up and they disappear. They climb to top of mountains and they go thugh these doorways.
All throughout history, though, if there's somewhere you couldn't get, there's always been some type of lore about it like that.
Yeah.
So like you go climbing mountains and you hear all about these dudes. I mean, and there's a lot of guys that have done it, but you hear about the dudes that'll like try to like climb Everest, get to the top, and come back down. They die up there or whatever. It's easy if we don't just have like free access to something like that. Like you can't just. I mean, you could go. I'm sure you're free to, but most people couldn't physically just climb Mount Everest.
No.
And the thing is,
that's where I think a lot of those, like when they talked about the Greek gods being on Mount Olympus, you couldn't go to the top of Mount Olympus. So you would get a lot of kind of like
people would have no
mythology
choice but to believe it.
Sasquatch are interdimensional, so
It's one of those.
I think so.
Have you seen Switzerland? Do you know anybody that's been to Switzerland?
Right.
Then how do you know Switzerland exists?
Yeah. And then you're like,
and it's kind of the same thing with Antarctica. I've heard so many different things, like theories and whatnot based around it all being in Antarctica. And I'm like, well, how fucking easy is that? Like, who's going to go there and say, yeah, no,
I mean,
nothing
there's
like
people
that.
there right now.
Well, I know there are, but
They're
no, there's not.
don't even get me
That's what I'm
started.
saying.
Started. Don't even get me started on that.
Dude, I love seeing that. I follow a page of people that actually like live up there, like scientists and stuff. And it's crazy. Like there was this one video where this guy was eating ramen outside, and he held it up like long enough, and he let go, and it was just frozen.
Yep.
Like it's pretty crazy how cold it is up there.
Oh yeah.
No, but so like outside of like the wackos, there was this not wackos. I don't want to say that's mean. They're not wackos. They're people. But we were shooting this documentary. I was a camera guy.
Sasquatchos.
Sasquatchos. There it is. We were shooting this documentary, and there was this lady that like she wrote like books on Sasquatch because apparently she had a really like personal relationship with Sasquatch, and this poor lady, man.
I've heard people talk like that before on this podcast I was telling you about. Yeah.
Yeah, and she walked out into the woods and she put like a bunch of food and berries and stuff on this log or stump or whatever, and she left. She came back
and it was gone.
Yeah, she told me this story. She was like, and it was gone, and I knew that he got it, and I was like, lady, there's
Not
more
the
than just
birds or the raccoons or the squirrels.
Yeah.
There's animals all over those woods.
Yeah.
And I felt, and then there was, we went out there, our first night hunting, which, we go out in the woods. We didn't even go off the trail. We're standing on like the trail.
Where was this?
This was Yellowwood.
Okay.
And we're standing at the entrance of the trail. We're not even going down in the woods. So it's like we can't even go the extra mile and go off into the woods and really do this thing. We're standing at the beginning of the trail. I can turn around and see my van behind me. Actually, matter of fact, I leaned on it to get a good shot. Like we're not even like in the shit,
Right.
And they're playing a recording of like a dying like whatever. It was awful. It was a dying animal of some kind. It was supposed to attract it. And we're standing there, and I'm filming this, and I'm like, trying to get all these people talking and interviewing and all that. And they're like, this guy looked over, and he's like, it's crazy how he can just move through the woods, and you can't even hear him. And I'm looking over at Tyler, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Are you serious right now? And he was like, just keep filming. I was like, it was funny because every time we got in the car to go to another location, we're just sitting there dying laughing because we couldn't laugh at the time.
He's already been here.
Yeah, it was like, it's like, you smell that? He smells like swamp ass. And I'm like, we're next to a
That's because
swamp.
I've got swamp ass.
Because there's a swamp right there, lady. Of course it smells like swamp ass.
That's your breath.
That's your breath.
He's like, oak blood.
And then my buddy Freddie, who went with us, we were chilling, and then something started throwing stuff. We started hearing stuff hit the cars. And then Freddie turns over with his camera and on God catches a guy on camera with a pellet gun shooting the cars because he's trying to fuck with us.
That they hired.
Yeah. They're trying to, because we know that they're full of shit, and they're trying to convince us. So this dude's shooting cars with his pellet gun, and I'm like, what in the world? And then, like, every time a widowmaker would fall from the trees, they're like, there it is, Bigfoot. I'm like, what in the fuck?
Can't
then,
make
like,
this shit up, folks.
Dude, they got every morning when they'd meet up to eat breakfast, they have a table full of like evidence that they found this year, and like some of it was like
A pack of Reds.
Poop.
no, well, yeah, look at this poop.
Space peanut.
I've never seen this kind of poop in the woods. Like, bro, that's horse shit.
Tyler turns the camera and sees one of the members shitting in the woods.
He's like, yeah, it's a space peanut.
Turn the camera away. No, anyway, so I'm so one of them is they find these plasters of feet. Like they think that they found feet and they put plasters, and none of these plasters at all looked like feet at all. So they just found random indents in the ground that they're like, there he is.
Some dude's ass cheeks.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
Nothing at all. Probably just like, look at this lump.
And we were in one of these guys was camping over at Morgan Monroe, and they had a little. I guess Bigfoot came out of the woods and he jumped in his car and started shaking the car while he's in there.
I mean, Bigfoot would be in the hills of Brown County.
Give me your beef jerky.
if he was here somewhere, he'd be there at the Hoosier National Forest.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
I could see Bigfoot chilling in like Ohio in the hills too.
I'm not saying he doesn't exist. I'm just saying I don't think these people.
You know them
are
hills.
right.
You know them hills out in Ohio, right? You lived in Cincy. Them hills
Yeah.
out in Ohio, man. Them are like some Bigfoot hills out
Oh, there's
there.
places in Appalachia that you can easily not
Yeah.
get found again.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't get found again. Like, I'm not laughing, but like,
Just squatching out for you.
You're just
yeah,
watching out, man.
we got your best. Yeah, I was trying to say interest, but
All I'm
there's
saying
nothing-
is,
never mind.
People down in Appalachia will treat you good. Just make sure that you're on their good side. They can make it
Appalachia.
disappear real quick. No, so we thought that they were. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, the guy he was camping over at Morgan Monroe, and he thought that Bigfoot came over in his camp, and he jumped in his car, and Bigfoot started shaking his car. So he got
So
a picture.
you say he thought.
Something. I mean, well, he didn't think so. He knew,
He knew so.
but I thought.
So he watched, according to him, Bigfoot jump in his car.
No, not jump in his. He jumped in the car.
Oh,
because he's,
okay.
you see a big, 10-foot ape coming out of the thing. You're gonna
Right.
jump in your car too. I'm not saying he doesn't exist. I'm just.
No, I know, but
the
no,
guy-
it's funny, dude. Like, there was this guy on that podcast. He's like,
I seen a Bigfoot on my granddaddy's property, and he was up in them hills, and I blowed his head clean off his shoulders.
is what he says. You're just listening, driving to work, like, what the fuck did you just
Currently
say?
turning 20-7 for Burger.
I blowed his head clean off his shoulders.
Now, I'll say this about it. I've been shown video, and I don't want to say by who.
Is it the Patterson video?
No, that some family had taken that was pretty convincing
Yeah.
for me.
No, I think I've seen. Yeah. Some weird
That being
stuff.
said, when you hear about Bigfoot came up and fucked with my car, or you hear, I blew his head off.
Yeah.
You didn't think to keep a fucking souvenir.
Well, that's the whole thing about he says in the podcast, the guy that says that he killed one of them. You'll hear all kinds of stuff on this podcast. I'm going to turn you on to it, man. It's actually really interesting. Some of
I'll
you,
listen to it.
You can tell some of it's just crap, but then other ones you're like, man, I feel like I believe that guy. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, that's how they all are.
I know. And both, like, there's this one account where this guy, he gets this female squanch breastfeeds him and nurses him back to health. And the way he describes he broke his leg or something, and he was famished and he was not doing well, and like this female Sasquatch like gathered him up and like gave him her Sasquatch teat. And like he says that it was so horrible that he like cried like a baby. And the way he described it, I was like, dear God, what if that happened, dude?
That's how muscle milk is made, dude.
Dude, that's gross.
He
I
got-
wonder how much protein's in freaking Sam Squatch
Did,
milk.
did he get any of that Sasquatch?
Nah, he might have. I don't know, but if he did,
At least they're nice, I guess.
I mean, yeah, she was Mama.
What are you
Mama
gonna do? Say
Squanch.
no?
Mama Squanch.
No, the best part of that whole thing was he took a picture of the handprint that the Sam Squanch left on his car, and you can tell that it was some dude that just put this hand on it and just went and made it bigger.
Right.
I was like, I'm sitting there looking at this.
That is obviously Rusty's hand.
And I walked over to Tyler and I was like, thank you so much for inviting me on this. This was the best weekend I have had in a long time.
This will make an incredible podcast story in 5 years, man.
Oh, man. It makes an... Dude, I tell this story on stage all the time because people just get a kick out of it. And It was funny because one of my good friends, I carried around the business card for that foundation everywhere I went. And it fell out of my pocket one day, and I was at my buddy's house, and my buddy's dad picked up the card, and he looked at it, and he's like, "Oh man, I went to school with that guy. Are you kidding? That's what he's doing now." Just the disappointment in his face.
I've seen that.
Do you like this podcast? Well, I really hope you do. Because we might need a little bit of help. If it'd be so kind of you. You can just go on over to patreon.com and look up It's So Easy Podcast. We got several different kinds of tiers for several different kinds of peers. We got the $5 a month, the $20 a month, whatever fits your budget. We got it for your muff. So if you be so kind and got some money to lend, go on over to Patreon so our dues can be spent.
No, that was insane. If you ever get a chance to go hang out with a bunch of crazy people hunting cryptids in the woods, I highly recommend it.
Crawfordsville's got
it's a
some.
blast, dude.
My hometown has several.
Fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of cryptids, have you seen?
Elizaville?
Well, that's something I'd like to dig into at some point.
What is it?
I actually hit them up when we wanted to go investigate Elizaville and ask if they've heard of it. They've
What's
never heard of
Elizaville?
it. So
They'd never heard of any of that.
yeah.
Dude,
So
There was supposed to be some type of. We used to do a lot of like the ghost hunting stuff.
Yeah.
And
is a house,
there
though.
was supposed to be out in Boone County this town called Elizaville.
That's like where I'm from, basically.
And in this wooded section of Elizaville,
I've never heard of Elizaville.
supposedly there was like somebody's head found on a stump.
it's hard to find the town because it's like
Boone
can't
County's right next door to my county.
I can't remember what town it's next to, but there's a town.
There's
and
a lot of-
Indy is slowly engulfing it, but there's a town next to it that you have heard of. But
India?
It's like, no, in Indy.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean,
India is
there are
slowly
some,
engulfing it.
There are some creepy little groves out there. There are. Like,
They did
Yeah.
just build a metro stop.
Like there's
out there.
Maplewood and there's like Cherry Grove out there. They're like little itty bitty like
Yeah,
boroughs with names.
it's like Brooklyn for Mooresville. You know. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, you have to zoom in on the map to even
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
You know.
But there was
got
supposed
you.
to be some type of monster in these woods responsible for that. And we'd thought about going out there just to see what the hell they were talking about. And supposedly the reports of the head on the stump
Maybe
were
like a
true.
skinwalker or something.
I don't know.
Dude,
what it
Jeepers
was.
Creepers would fuck all these dudes up. I don't give.
Jeepers Creepers. Dude. Hey, when's our next show?
When is?
We're allowed to talk about that stuff, you know?
April, I believe.
April
is
6th.
The next Taylor Hernly show on the books.
Dead Moon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're doing Shadow Fest.
Fest,
yeah.
We're doing Taylor and Chicago Farmer and Adam Hartmother.
Yeah.
Rich is playing guitar for that band. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, Rich is.
Mona's in that band.
I can't keep up, dude.
Yeah, that'll be a busy day for me and Brandon and Ty because Slow Gen's playing in Shelbyville that night.
Dang, dude.
So we're playing at like 2-3 o'clock, and then we're hauling ass to Shelbyville, and yeah.
Hey, y'all are booking some bullshit on me this
I'll be
year.
crying in the shower.
We're also doing a show out in fucking, what was it, West Virginia.
Doing one in West
Yeah.
Virginia.
And the next day we're
Oh,
coming
really?
back here to Indiana to play a show.
Yeah,
those are
Southern
the
Indiana.
Dead Moon. That's on the Dead Moon roster. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. I'm
Y'all
looking
are-
forward to that.
Y'all are stepping up to my workload.
Yeah. No, see, I actually want to. I need more solo stuff happening. I need more little here's and there's because I'm broke, yo.
I just want to make sure you all know that on that little amount of sleep and that much time on the road, if somebody gets smacked, it's not personal.
Oh, no, totally. Totally. It's
Just
funny.
my penis.
Dude, I've been,
Yeah, just my
like,
penis.
We have been on the road together already. That's pretty cool, man. Just to be able to
Yeah.
say that. That's
Well,
that's
we did, yeah.
A little bit.
Those runs to
I mean,
Kentucky
you've heard
and
me
Ohio.
snore and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Probably heard me snore.
Yeah, we-
my potential sleep apnea.
You had an excuse to fucking snore. You just slept in a chair.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah,
That was a cool night, though.
Yeah, we had bed bugs.
Yeah.
It was funny because we went out to Chris had just fallen asleep. We
Yeah.
went outside to smoke cigarettes. I didn't smoke cigarettes. Was I smoking? Yeah, I was smoking at the time. We went outside to smoke cigarettes because I'm not better than anybody. And we were just sitting there talking, and the dude, this couple was packing up their shit, and they were like, "Good night, don't let the bed bugs bite." And we laughed at them, and they're like, "No, I'm
No,
serious." Yeah, it's serious.
We're
And I
like,
was
wait, what?
There's bed bugs, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So we went up there, and I'll be damned, we found some bed bugs, and the bed
Clem
was
fucking-
slightly wet too. That was kind of weird, but
Clem laid the hammer down, and
we tried to lay the hammer
Yeah,
down.
I tried. I walked up and I was like, listen, we found fucking bed bugs. That ain't right. We didn't book this hotel. An event coordinator booked it for us. You need to refund it to the original payment method, and he'll buy us the next hotel that's not a piece of shit.
Right.
And the dude's just like, yeah, all right, man.
yeah,
And I'm like, you don't see a problem with that? And he goes, nah, man, I totally get it.
I don't blame you a bit, dude.
And I'm just sitting there like, fight me.
That's the definition of I just work here.
yeah. I think this place sucks too, dude.
You really think I'm proud to work here at this 1-star motel in Waverly, Ohio?
Fucking bed bugs.
Think I take pride in my work? I literally get stoned in the parking lot.
Hey, but it turns out though the show was cool.
The show was great.
It was a great show.
It was fun.
That was fun. Old Jeremy Short. Hopefully we'll meet up with him sometime later on down the line.
I'd like to do another one of them shows out there. In
Dude, he's
Waverly.
got cool tunes.
Yeah, yeah, he does. I'll hit up Nathan and see what he can do for us. Might not be that big, but he's got an Eagles out there we can play at or whatever. I got a lot of great fans out in Waverly.
Come out my way, guys, for real. We can coordinate that way. We can play stuff at Squeegee Pie, or I'm trying to get us in at Kicking Axe out there.
Something.
Crawfordsville.
Yeah.
I'm from Crawfordsville.
I will play no matter what.
Yeah.
It's everybody else you got to ask for, like money-wise. And shit.
Exactly. That's the part that sucks. The dollars and cents.
I'm a slut. I like playing music all the time.
I do. I'm also kind of the businessman when it comes to thinking about things. And a lot of the times when you talk about shows, I put aside this is Taylor's band, and I think, well, what would the Brandon band do?
Right.
And I'm like, you wouldn't be able to pay me to go fucking 400 miles out of my way to play for the same thing we're making here in Indiana.
You guys have
Wouldn't
been
happen.
a team this way for a long time, and you guys work together for long enough, at least, that it shows. You know, like you guys have a dynamic that works. You know,
Yeah, I mean, we kind of really started out in music a lot.
it was easy for me to latch into it for sure.
But
Like a boob.
a lot of the times
like a
too,
boob.
like if we're at rehearsal or something like that, and I'm talking, I'm not giving the Brandon opinion. I'm giving, well, I know this is how Taylor would want something done.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The mouthpiece, yeah. That's
It took me a
It
while
works.
to not do anything. And that's why I do a lot of shit solo still, because the way that I want to work is not the way that everybody wants
right.
to work.
That's fair.
I'm I'm always going. I'm always doing something. I'm staying up till 3, 4, 5,
Me
6
too.
in the morning working on shit. I'm always on the road, always doing something.
Learning
crazy,
something
you know?
new, yeah.
Yeah. No, and I'll tell you this: if it weren't for my position in life, I think I would enjoy doing that very similar
Yeah.
kind of thing.
No, I get it.
But a lot of it to me comes down to like too.
what if I could?
You look at Caleb Baker. He's got his own concrete business. Baker's Excavating, and concrete. But he
Baker's Excavating and Concrete.
yeah.
Located
Big
in
Red.
Martinsville, Indiana.
He'll fill you up.
Over at
In a
State
hard
Road
way.
45.
But
He'll fill you up.
Starts out soft,
Your
then
hallway.
hard.
if
Your hallway.
if you call him and you're like, hey, I want a porch made, right? And he's like, okay, how big do you want it? And you're like, okay, well, I just want it 8 foot by 8 foot, right? He's going to give you a price. And then if you say, okay, well, we're in Kentucky, he's going to give you a totally different price or just tell you no.
Yeah.
And if you shoot back with, well, I tell you what, I couldn't do 10 grand, how's 7.5? He's going to say, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
In a nice Caleb Baker type of manner.
I've met him a couple times. He's cool.
And I kind of think of a lot of stuff that way. It's like, to me, I see us as worth a certain thing, right? And if you don't think we're worth that, leave me the fuck alone.
As a group, as a
Yeah.
band, yeah.
There's a lot of other people that do.
Honestly, dude.
And I would rather go to a place like that. But I know a lot of musicians are like, dude, I'll play for $50 on a Thursday night.
I mean, he has found a way to. You have manifested what you already saw in your head, basically. from the very beginning, and it has evolved along the way.
Yeah.
But you have made it a real thing because you already believed that you had it
Yeah.
in the first
Well,
place.
and a big part of that was
I've done the same thing basically, and there's a science to it. I think you know what I mean. And
you can't. Everybody, whenever they're first beginning, wants to try and execute stuff with professional skill, even though they're beginners.
Yep.
yeah,
And you don't learn how to have that confidence until you've went through the trenches, like we talked about, and earned how to, and also learned how to apply professional skills to stuff, so that you have the confidence
totally.
to apply those skills. Because it's not about faking the confidence.
You can't.
Because you can't do that without having those skills, and Taylor's earned that. You know what I mean?
Totally,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, and I'll tell you this too. My method
you.
would have never worked alone. Because we would have started the band off, and you'd have been like, "Hey, Brandon, book these shows," and I would have told everybody to go fuck themselves.
Right.
And we'd have played probably 5 shows to date because we wouldn't have had the following for me to be able to act like that.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have headlined that festival last year. We
Nope.
wouldn't have played that festival.
Well,
at the time.
festivals are a little different.
Yeah.
I'd take a lot less money if we're going to be put in front of a lot of people.
Well, festivals are cool, but there's a reason why we were there to begin with.
Yeah.
I played for $300
Because you did
up
all
at
of
that
that shit.
bar. You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
every
And that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. You've chosen the path of maximizing
Yeah.
your potential financially this way, and in order to do that, you have to grind, and that's what grinding is.
Mostly because it's like
if it's just you and your van, then it's okay if you make $100 and have to drive a few hours. Who cares? Like that's part of the paycheck. You know?
And yeah, I was it's kind of what we were talking about earlier and what I wanted to get at, but I wanted to save it for when we were talking. Like, when you're in a person's shoes like mine, you have to understand. I made a choice a long time ago that I'm not going to get committed to things because I want to do this. But other people didn't make that same decision.
Right.
So if you're going to make a decision to be in a project with other people that decided to build a life, you need to respect that. But at the same time, you also need to make sure you're fair to yourself. I gave up a lot to do what I'm doing
sure.
right now. I gave up a good, decent retirement cash. You know, I gave up a lot of insurance. You know, I
Yeah,
gave
me
up a
too,
lot of
brother.
things. So I need to make sure that I'm
Surrounded
giving
by guys.
myself what I want to do.
Yeah.
But also, if I want to work with people that are the same way, I need to respect that as
Totally.
well.
Yeah.
And that's why it takes a long time to get, this many guys together that are all kind of on the same page. Because in one way or another, in one instance or another, each of us are landed on the line like you are. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
in one form or another that this is what I do as well to like get by. So
Yeah.
like that helps your case. It helps also. It keeps us all sharp. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, and you asked Taylor how many times me and him's had a conversation, because I have to go into my head and think, okay, well, we're not famous enough for me to act like this. I can't tell you how many times Taylor will sit down and talk to everybody and be like, hey, we got an offer from this place at this location, and they want to pay us $150 a piece, right? And I'm like, yeah, but out there, 150. I don't know, man. And then I'm like, well, it's not necessarily where I try to approach it like a businessman. And then I sit there and think about it, and I'm like, well, no, that'd probably be good. It'd be good to be able to go out, do the show, be able to go out, grow the fan base.
Yeah. Kill it.
We're not nearly as big out there as we are locally. Who are we to be like, no?
Yeah, it's important to seize the day.
It's always good to ask for more money, but you always got to come to that compromise where it's like, my thing is when it comes to the band stuff, there's a couple areas that I want to play in, but I want to find a venue or a bar that I like, that I want to keep going back
You
to.
can kind of hone in on
That
Not
way
yourself.
just
you can-
some fucking
Yeah. So you can build up something. I mean,
Yes.
even my little thing in Lexington, I play at a place called Chevy Chase like once a month.
Yeah.
Even that little place, I got like 10, 15 people that come out every time I play there. Every time
cool.
I announce it anyway. I play there so damn much, I don't even announce it anymore,
That's awesome.
But and they're regulars at the bar, so they're probably gonna be there anyway. But it's like, as a band, I always feel like, if you promote it properly, like if you go there every 6 months and you promote it properly, and
Then you do that 5 more times. You've got a whole year of work.
and you want to get on as many festivals as possible, but it's hard to get on festivals if nobody hears you in general.
Bengebreakers have only done a couple festival events, man. We need to change that this year. Holler at the Bengebreakers, guys.
That's where you can get a lot of stuff done
Yeah.
in terms of
Merch,
exposure, merch,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Festivals are great for that.
Yeah.
I'm a little more open to really trying to. There's a couple festivals that I kind of wrote off a long time ago because it just didn't make sense money wise. But they're here in Indiana, but I might actually take them up this year, even if it's a solo act, because it's like you never know.
Oh, hey,
to
dude.
me, it's like if you respect the music, and I know I've talked a lot of business. If you're just starting out, right?
Yeah.
Like if you are a new band and nobody has ever shown up at your show, what you're doing is still worth at least $100 a person.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
totally. Don't ever take it less than that.
So when
Yeah,
people
yeah, that's no
and
joke.
that's kind of where I got my business mentality from is every time somebody be like, yeah, you're bringing your 5-piece band, we'll pay you guys like $250, and I'm like, I'm not even fucking dealing with that anymore.
Dude, I have people hit me up sometimes and they say, hey, we'll pay your band $100, but we only need you to pay for 30 minutes. I was like, no, it's $100 a man, no matter how long we're playing.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause-
the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like, I love doing it. I love even setting up sound. I enjoy that because I get to learn more about stuff. I don't
Sure.
really complain about that, but at the end of the day, you have to give me money for at least just showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not some royalty, but like,
Well, it's respect.
$100 for a 5-piece, that's ridiculous.
Well, you got to break it
It
down
is.
into loading your gear in, right?
Yeah.
And this goes without all of the expenses we've had of purchasing and maintaining gear, right?
Yeah.
We're packing all the gear up.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
getting everybody together.
My pedal board's like
We're
$4,000.
loading the gear in. We're setting up. We get set up. We've learned these songs for these shows too. A lot of our set lists are different for different shows.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
we have rehearsed for a specific show, and then we go in and we do that. And even if it's for 5 minutes, like the bare minimum starting out would
Yeah.
be $100 a man.
Yeah.
And that is for somebody that didn't bring a crowd to that show.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors that go into it for sure.
Even when we opened up for big names, we still got paid like $100
Yeah.
a man.
I've even been in situations where I've proven to venues that I can sell tickets and still put people in the seats, and they've still been reluctant to let us in because we play original music or whatever.
Yep.
You know, but
It's like, look, if we just showed you what we're doing, and yeah, I know
people
that
dig it, man.
you always hear everybody talking about how you got to play a ton of covers, but if we just filled this place
Yeah.
with original music, leave us the fuck alone.
Yeah.
You made your money.
Exactly.
Quit bitching.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You can still do your line dance thing on Tuesday nights or
And
whatever.
there is it because I was talking about this last night because the bar owner was kind of venting to me about somebody that had been bugging her about getting a show, and then she finally said, "All right, how much you guys charge?" Or "Okay, fine, we'll book you." And she didn't even ask how much they charged. Like, "Okay, fine, we'll book you." And, and they was like, "Okay, we charge this much," and she was like, well, hold on, you've been bugging me, and now you're going to tell me how much, you know. So I get that point of view. Like, if you reach out to a bar, you know, obviously you want to shoot them your price, let them know what's going on. But,
Well, if you're going to ask a lucrative price, you better have a badass EPK, too.
yeah, you know, you better be able to, you know, walk the walk. But
Yeah.
I think reaching out and then getting reached out to also applies to it. But
For
you,
sure.
you do need to have your set price, and if you go down from it, you need to be like, okay, we'll cut you a deal this time, but let's even if we have to do this for the first couple times we come play here, let's work together so we can put more people in this room.
What's your policy on benefit shows, guys, as a whole?
Charity shows are a whole different story.
Yeah, I don't mind playing charity shows for.
I'll do those for nothing.
Is there a
depending on the
cap
charity.
on that? Like, do each member of the band get one benefit that everybody's kind of like obligated to be at and play at, or is it like all just like a unified thing that they decide they're going to do for free? Is it something that you still expect payment for? Like, what is it?
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt to.
Because I feel like I'll start by saying, when it comes to a benefit, if somebody comes to me, particularly somebody that I'm not really familiar with, like if there's a deceased or something that I'm not aware of who this person was, I would just be basically providing a source of music for this event, then I would expect payment for that, right? Would that be wrong to do so?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
If somebody,
Elicits my...
because we do a benefit show. Well, we're hoping there's two particular benefits, at least that I'm aware of, and that's Bikers Cruising for a Cure, and that's
You're
Cody's
doing Doolin
ride.
Day this year, too.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
But Bikers Cruising for a Cure and Cody's Ride, these are people that we know well. These are brothers to us. We are all of the members of the band are at least somewhat aware of what the charity was. That's something our heart and soul's in.
Okay.
We're there. If somebody hits us up and they're like, yeah, we're putting together a benefit for like the autism awareness stuff, right? We'll be like, yeah, no, we could see that, and at the very
$100
least,
a
we're
man.
going to cut you a deal on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you hit us up and you're like, yeah, so we're doing a benefit. My brother had died at some point.
Right.
We're going to be like, well, we'll cut you a deal.
Right.
But we don't have any
That's what I'm saying. There's like a line.
heart and soul into this event if
Right.
we don't know you and we didn't know your brother.
The reason I ask because different bands and musicians have different policies on that. I've just gathered that through the years. And
It just depends on the event for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's not a right or wrong way to go
if
about
they
that.
ask me how much I charge, usually I'll say, well, I usually charge this, but
Right.
it's whatever you can do. And if they flat out say I can't, if it's a band thing, I usually say, like, I got to give these guys something.
Right. I do too. Yeah.
But either I got to give these guys something, or I'll gladly come solo and do it for free.
Right.
I've done that. I had to do that for a friend of mine. Her mom got diagnosed with cancer, and they were having something over at the park. And she said, yeah, my mom's a big fan of yours. And I was like, well, I'll go ahead and just show up. And I showed up, and it was funny. I played for like 30 minutes, and then me and my buddy talked about film shit for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing they
Bugged out
didn't
on
pay me,
that.
but they were really appreciative that I showed up and even sang a little bit,
Yeah.
you know. And they ended up coming to our show at 67, so that was cool.
That's
so
what's
at least
up.
they got to see
Yeah.
a full show, you know.
Well, and that's
show.
what I'm saying. I wouldn't lay down a blanket policy on something like that. For me, that would be like, all right, well, let's see what the situation is before we make any
I was just
decisions.
interested to know like what you guys have what your experience was with that, because I've had to deal with, like I do Dueling Day, which it's a charitable thing that I'm doing there for my buddy. So like obviously, but if I'm going to have you guys on at Dueling Day this year to help me raise money. But
That's easily
you're getting
$2,000
paid though.
minimum.
Right. But I'm going to pay you something, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't have to like negotiate anything like that with me, but I'm going to pay you something because I obviously feel like you should be,
Yeah.
like, so that's just where my stance is.
Yeah,
on
but
that.
see, something like that, it's like you're putting this on. I don't really mind whether
Right.
or not I'm walking out with money in my, because I mean, to me, there's
It's like a brotherhood thing though. It's like you are fellow like
yeah.
If you
of
do
the-
good
of the
things,
craft.
good things will come back to you.
yeah, it's like I'm going to give you money for your time. Man.
Well, it's no different to me. So like Taylor, right? And what I used to tell Taylor was if there's a band name, I'll do whatever for free. If I'm playing for somebody else, I got to get paid for absolutely everything.
Yeah.
That's obviously changed, right? Taylor's a really damn good friend of mine. I do have
He's
an
aight.
investment in this band as a member of a band, even though my name's not like in the title.
Totally. I think, yeah.
I do have an investment as a member of the band, and my view on that has changed quite a bit. But if somebody hits me up, and there's a lot of people I like in the scene, right? But I grew up with Taylor to an extent. If somebody else hits me up and they're like, hey, Brandon, I need you to play bass. We got 2 shows coming up. You're going to have to pay me my minimum for those 2 shows. And if I'll give you the 1 free rehearsal before each show. And if you want me at more than that, you got to pay me to show up to those. Because to me, it's like I'm doing my homework. You just
Yeah.
let it go and trust me. And if you don't, you're going to have to pay me more money.
Yeah, you did well. You did really well when you.
I could have done a lot better with your show.
We
I
were
just
going
had a
on nothing.
lot on my table at that
Yeah,
point.
you're good. That was good. I got videos
and,
to prove
in
it.
all fairness, too, the last 2 projects that I have either filled in for or become a part of are pretty outside of my box in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Bengebreakers, you
I
guys
stay
had some
outside of mine.
songs I clicked with real quick with
Yeah.
my styles, but then you had some other songs where it's like you're
Chordy.
doing something cool. I'm just, it's not necessarily in my toolbox.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
I've kind of run into that same thing with slow gen a lot. And when that's the case, I don't learn it as fast.
Slow Gen's a dangerous weapon because Slow Gen does play some of the hits, you know what I mean? But they do it. You guys, you play certain songs that like are ballsy, really.
Oh, I've told the guys
For 3 people, especially.
talking to Brandon and Ty, I've told them several times I feel bad because it's easier to book slow gen than to book the Taylor stuff
Right.
because it's,
Way
the
more
Taylor
covers.
stuff,
Got the stuff in it.
originals, and you can, the slow gen's a working band. You
Yeah.
can, you can go to bars and like last night, I don't think we played one original.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's kind of lame.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is what it is, But
Yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just that's the way it is. Sometimes
I mean-
you play a bar, and sometimes you got to
Well,
play all those covers.
Hey, and
that's
if
the only-
Ty needs to get his nut too, I mean, he's doing the damn thing too. And if y'all can
Yeah.
help each other out that way, that's fine. I understand why. I mean, I'm not the most approachable dude, like as far as adding extra things to a person's. Like, you guys aren't gonna want to. I've got enough going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You guys are all local to each other, and like it makes sense. But I'm definitely thinking about 2024 and how that's going to look for me and the guys too. We're still going to be doing our thing. We're finishing up recording an album, but I want to do something with you guys too, collaboratively.
That'd be cool. I
Yeah,
mean, we
yeah,
got
absolutely.
a 3-band bill right there already.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking I want to do an unplugged thing and call it something different, like the 100 Acre Wood or something. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that'd be cool.
Yeah, well, you were kind of touching on that, and
Yeah.
that's something.
Just be like we could like literally bounce stems back and forth off each other remotely and like just like record a record. We wouldn't even have to play out hardly. Kris Harves.
Chris
everybody.
is over there.
Showing some skin,
You're gonna get the floor here in a minute. And we're gonna
some
make
skin,
you
boy.
talk for at least 25 minutes.
skin, boy.
We're gonna poke you with a stick, dude.
Yeah, it's I'm excited for 2024 just because of all the shit on my plate. It's nice having a lot of work to do.
I've got some rocky roads ahead, maybe, but it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm not looking. I'm sure there's bad times ahead for everybody, but you can't. I always I don't know. There's a quote from a movie that it's a book, but it turned into a movie that I really like.
Those are the best ones.
Oh, no one knows what curves life will throw at you, but if the driver has the courage to create his own conditions, then the rain is simply rain. So you can know that there's bad times ahead of you, but if you just realize that there's going to be ahead of you and you got to deal with them the best way you can, and some of them are going to be stronger than the others, but if you expect, like, what is it, expect the worst but hope for the best. you know? And I've always lived my life like that. I've had to. Going on the road, I could be in the middle of North Dakota and break down and be fucked, but I know that if that happens, I have a battle plan. I have ways that I'm going to go about doing it. I have a stock full of beanie weenies stuck under the cart storage area. I'm not going to starve.
I know you're on it, man.
I'm assuming those are totally different from weenie beanies.
Yes.
Weenie beanies.
Two different things, man. Yeah.
Weenie beanies. That's what I got. A weenie beanie. Oh, Lord. No, but
I don't know if you know what I meant.
Mom's got a weenie
There's a
beanie.
product called a weenie
Your
beanie.
mom goes to
are they
college.
weenie? I thought they were beanie weenies.
No, there's
Throw
a
this
product called a
pigskin a
weenie
quarter
beanie that
mile.
you put on your dick.
Oh, okay. So
Taylor goes, I got a weenie beanie. And
no,
I'm
I
like,
got a whole case of beanie weenies.
We'll
They're
be
at
right
my
back.
house. Oh, it's a weenie beanie. You put it on your penis.
Yes.
We'll be right back, folks.
No, it's thank you guys for tuning in.
San Diego, which of course means a whale's vagina.
Jesus Christ. What we talk about? We talk about werewolves. Well, we didn't talk about werewolves.
Hey, there was a video.
Bigfoot. That's what we talked about.
There was a video Ty had sent. Did you guys watch that video Ty sent?
Yeah, the alien one.
It was what was that? It was Miami.
Yeah, the alien one tripped me out, and
I've seen that.
What tripped me out most is it crazy that the aliens didn't trip me out as much as the pastor from the '60s that Joe Rogan pulled up the audio clip, and the dude was saying if I was the devil in America, this is what I would do, and he starts rattling off everything that he said is what's going on right now in the world.
Have you seen? Oh, I won't.
The alien stuff though, that was crazy.
I won't get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, if you hadn't seen that video, all of these cops were lined up outside of this it was a mall, but these cops were lined up for what looked like miles, right? And the official explanation was that there were some people protesting inside of this mall setting off fireworks. The two problems with that was everybody else inside the mall had called about there being a fucking alien just wandering around. And the other problem with that was one of the clips showed this thing walking outside of the front door in front of one of the cop cars. And you know, when you watch something move and you're just like, this isn't natural, it's not human, it's not
Uncanny Valley.
yeah.
I've definitely seen that, and it definitely freaked me out too at first, and it still does freak me out if it's legit. But I think that I think that it's fake. I think that we're being bamboozled even another layer than that.
Isn't that crazy? I think the same shit sometimes too.
I think it is. I think that that's what.
It's a distraction.
I think they want you to think that we're getting bamboozled by the outer spaces, and that's all just a big fake Hollywood thing, like the moon was. And you can, Zachary Thomas Benge, signing off.
Thank you guys for tuning in this episode. We'll see you next time when we talk about werewolves and shit. Apparently, we're on a roll. Yeah. So
I'll own it, dude.
So you really think the moon landing was fake?
I do, man. I do. And like, I mean, that's if you don't like, please don't beat me up. Like,
I'm not gonna beat you
I
up.
don't care about that shit.
no, there's a.
Like, I just don't. I'm not gonna. If you know, it's like. You'd be proud of your son or daughter if they stood on what they believed in, and if they felt something in their guts wasn't real and they stood on it, you'd be proud of them. And I'm telling you right now, that's what I'm doing. I don't feel like it was legit at all.
I'm proud of you.
I had a bad trip one time that aliens have basically like essentially taken my soul out of me, and then I had psychosis after that for like 8 months.
No, dude. No, listen. Look,
If they're real,
talk.
they're like in your mind.
Welcome back to the conversation, Chris.
The next episode, Chris is like Indian style over here, like.
Whoa.
No, dude, but that's real talk though.
There is a Wi-Fi. There's 2 episodes of the Y-Files you need to watch. One of them is about the moon landing and how it was fake. And if you don't know the Y-Files is one of the best.
Buzz
YouTube
Aldrin
channels.
literally goes on the record like multiple times on TV and says that was not real. We didn't do that. He literally says that.
He also punched a guy for saying that it was fake. So yeah.
Well, yeah, but that might have been closer to the money days.
Maybe he's an alcoholic. I don't know.
Maybe he is. Maybe he doesn't remember his niece.
No, then what's the second one is that the aliens are actually here to harvest our souls, and we actually don't move on to the true afterlife because
They trap us here.
they feed us on our negative energy. So when we die, we go up, and then they poop us back down to earth, and we get reincarnated.
I've heard some gnarly, like grotesque stuff like that too, man.
Yeah.
We're like meat sacks.
Could you imagine, like, they just steal our soul and they just kick you into the battle of the Somme, and you're just like
I know,
miserable, like in a trench in what was that, England?
I have
somewhere?
literally
I went
almost gotten
England.
into physical altercations with people that I once loved because of stupid crap like that. Like, it's not stupid crap. It's obviously like
Dude, I'd love to
very,
get-
very pivotal stuff. But
In a
like,
fist fight with Uncle Jimmy over aliens.
no, yeah, but no, like I've had some like heartbreaking experiences where it's like, dude, you're really like that. Like, you really want to punch me in the face right now? Like, who cares if it's flat? Like,
We were
who
talking
cares?
about Earth, man.
Yeah, like if it is flat, who cares, man? Why do you want to punch me? But anyway,
Dude, I legit was like, it was me and somebody sitting on the couch, and I like was looking up at the lights on the fan in the ceiling, and I just like fell back, and I felt like my life was coming out of my eyes. And
I understand what you're saying.
fucking
Actually,
everything went black, and these 2
Hell of a drummer.
beings that were made of light that looked like aliens went like this. A light came out of me and into them. Then everything went dark, and after that, I was stuck in fight or flight for like 8 months.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember you going through that.
elaborate on that. Stuck in fight or flight. What do you mean by that?
Like,
You ever had a panic attack?
yeah,
yeah,
like
That's
stuck
fight
in
or
a
flight.
panic attack.
Yeah.
yeah, like
That's
if I was
horrible.
in a vehicle, I couldn't leave the house because if I was in a vehicle, we'd go to stop, everything would keep going.
So
Like,
you were stuck in a trip.
yeah.
That
yeah,
that
like
happened.
shit
dude.
would freak me the fuck out.
That's
like,
happened to my mom before.
Sounds in general, like I'd look at like this right here, and it would have something about it would have a face to it, and I'd just feel like
It was
evil from
watching
it.
you. Yeah. It's because it probably.
Everything's evil. Everything.
under the table.
The molecules are watching me, man.
No, dude, that's gnarly, dude.
All right. And with that, we're going to end this episode. For real this time. All right.
So easy, baby.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the It's So Easy podcast. It's so easy, baby.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Some people call it a sling blade.
Some people call me the space alien.
Yeah.
Some call me
Don't
the
fuck with
abductor of
us, or we'll fuck back.
souls.
Got eyes on the back of my dick.